What is up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Dense Pixels podcast. I'm with your host, Brad, joined by my co-host, Carrie.
What's up?
And Micah.
Hey.
I realized I went in reverse order by accident. I did not at all mean to do that. Terrence will probably be joining us. Yeah, Terrence will probably be joining us as a hot start. We might actually lose Micah and Terrence just due to some recording scheduling stuff across the network. So we will make do and suffice as we need to. Look, we couldn't record last week because of scheduling. Couldn't record on Monday as we normally do because of illness from me. And then the Nintendo Direct Switch 2 reveal was today, so that's pretty much sidetracked the entire show, and we're pretty much going to be talking about Nintendo for pretty much this entire episode. So we'll talk about Assassin's Creed and a game that I've been playing a lot, probably in a future episode, probably next episode. Because, like I said, the Switch 2 has sucked up all the oxygen in the room today. They finally had their big reveal event where they showed off some of the games, where they showed off the hardware. They announced the release date. We now know pricing. We know it all. And they had a direct last week as well of stuff for the Switch 1 that also will work on the Switch 2, one would assume. So a lot of Nintendo stuff going on. So let's get right into it. We're going to bounce around a bunch here. I'd like to talk about the hardware first because the hardware, to me, as far as like the specs and the price, is kind of like I'm pleasantly surprised in some aspects, and I'm a little not disappointed, but I'm a little miffed in other aspects when it comes to the hardware and the price and things like that. So let's roll. Hey, Terrence, how's it going? Terrence
getting his
is
mic
awestruck. Oh, he's still getting his mic on. All right, so we'll catch up there. So, here's the specs as we know them. So, the Switch has a 7.9 inch screen, which is considerably larger than the Switch one. It's also going to support 1080p and HDR up to 120 frames per second with variable refresh rate. So that these are all things I wasn't necessarily expecting. 1080p I was expecting. I don't know that I was expecting HDR and 120 FPS.
I sure as shit was not.
Yeah, and also so like I've been bitching the fact that they weren't going to put out an OLED version at launch, and that was going to bum me out because I really like my OLED Switch. Apparently the LCD is like a high quality LCD screen. Like it's a really nice image, and then combine that with HDR. You won't get like the inky blacks that you get with an OLED screen. But this screen looks pretty good. At least it looks pretty good in the presentation that they showed when they showed like a side by side comparison. You're gonna have 6.5 hours of battery life, or 2 to 6.5 hours, depending on the specific games that you're playing. 256 gigs of storage up.
That's big for Nintendo.
Well, it's big for Nintendo, but
it's still not a ton in the grand scheme of like how large today's games are. But I think given that in the past few console generations for Nintendo, like 32 internal was the most that they would give you, and you would have to expand it yourself with SD cards. 256 is a pretty significant improvement over the past few generations as far as internal storage for Nintendo.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely not complaining. I was expecting it to be like, here's 32 gigs again. Like that's straight up what I was thinking they were going to do.
Well, and the flip side to that though is that, so obviously you're going to be able to expand the memory. However, the only SD cards that will work on the Switch 2 are micro SD Express cards, which are a newer type of micro SD card that's out in the marketplace, and they're very expensive compared to typical SD cards. So, like as a point of comparison, like a 60 or a SanDisk 256 gig express card is $60 right now on Amazon. A terabyte card is $200 at Amazon, which is a lot of damn money compared to high capacity micro SDs, which are a lot cheaper
Yeah.
than that nowadays. So that part's a little interesting. Also, the system will output up to 4K on through the dock, which again, not necessarily expecting that from Nintendo. I think that's pretty cool, and it should also lend some more favorable terms for like third party compatibility. Like this won't be this now potentially is a viable option to play third party games. Like you
Yeah.
might actually choose playing them on the Switch along instead of playing them on PS5 or the Xbox One.
Hmm.
So there's that. But the big and something they didn't touch on during the presentation, but it came out afterwards, is the price of the console. So
Yep.
in the US, it's going to be $449, or $500 if you buy it with a digital bundled copy of Mario Kart World, which is the new Mario Kart game that's coming out. That is expensive, I feel, considering that a PlayStation 5 cost $500.
Yeah. Well, it costs 500. Does it still cost 500?
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if PS5 had experienced a price drop at all. I mean, it is expensive, $450 for the hardware. That being said, and I think there's a post office question about this. They deliberately, I think, did not talk price during the presentation. Again, as you mentioned, it was
Mhm.
sort of brought up after the fact. And there is this Japan only version that is much cheaper that I think basically comes out to about $330 US, but that is region locked as well to Japan. So that cannot play like English games or, American released games. So it begs the question, how much of this price is baking tariffs into the price? Um, it I believe it was it was Cam who asked, how much of the Switch 2 price tag do you think is tariffs, or do you think this was already going to be the price? For reference, in Japan, the base model is priced about equivalent to $333. So there are other variable price costs as far as the international versions. I believe the European price is pretty equivalent to the American price, though.
I think it's €396 if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Which
So
to your point
it's
is
fairly
similar.
equivalent.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, I mean, expensive, yes. That being said, this is within the realm of what I was kind of expecting to pay for the system. I was expecting it to be basically between $400 and $500, depending on the hardware specs. And given that the hardware specs are significantly better than I think I was anticipating, 450 feels about right given the cost of new technology these days and the current political climate that we live in. So,
Everything, every console always feels like it's $50 more than it should be.
mm,
I don't know what it is.
I don't know. I feel
This
like the
is
Xbox. I honestly I think the Xbox has probably been the best price console this generation. With
every over there console feels like it's $50 more than it should be. Um, Look, I'm interested in this thing, but I don't know if I'm gonna pick this up.
okay, then what I need you to do is use your Nintendo account to like sign up to try and get one, and then just let me use your account so that I can buy it. Thanks. Thanks in advance.
Yeah, it just yeah, I am interested, but I bought the Switch, and the Switch is a fine machine. It just I don't use it as much as I thought I would. Um, if I were a little more mobile, I think I'd use it more often. But and look, I'm talking all this crap. look, I'm probably gonna get the thing, but I'm not gonna because like who are you talking to,
Yeah,
right?
right.
But I'm not. But this is not one of those things where it's like I gotta have this day one,
Mhm.
and it might not even be one of those things where it's like I gotta have this, like y- you know. I'm not saying I'm gonna wait for like the mid gen update,
Mhm.
but a game is gonna have to come out that's really gonna have to blow my socks off um, to get me to pony up, and even then, like 450, like the price is the price. I don't even care about the price. It's what is if am I gonna get my money's worth, and I don't necessarily know just yet.
Okay. I think that's fair. I know for me, there's definitely enough within the sort of, I guess, what we would call the launch window, which would be probably, the first 3 months after the hardware launches, is what I would consider to be the launch window. There's plenty of games on like the launch day that are appealing enough for me. But I think if you're not like super stoked on some of these titles and you feel like you can wait, then I think that's a completely valid kind of response to the announcement and the price and all of that. So
So Terrence, you not being a Nintendo guy, for
historically speaking,
to say the least, um, what were
Can you
your?
guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so you not being a Nintendo guy, what are your thoughts on, like I said, the hardware, the price, like what does this do for you, as being someone that's
Nothing.
not inclined to play?
It's they're just catching up with all the other console handhelds, right? So it's just got the Nintendo skin on it and all the Nintendo exclusives. And I haven't necessarily played a Nintendo game outside of like emulating old GameCube games
Mhm.
in 20 years.
Wow, really? It's been that long since you
It's
owned
been a
a
very long time since.
Nintendo console? Wow.
No, the last Nintendo console I owned was the GameCube, and that was in fucking 2004.
Yeah, 20 years ago.
So yeah,
To
yeah,
your point.
21 years ago. Right. So they don't really do anything for me. And I don't know if you guys talked about possible price points for games yet, um, which I saw was
Well, that's
very interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a whole other thing. And so
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, what they're doing is cool. Like I saw, you can use the Joy-Con as a mouse. I mean, the Lenovo game, the Lenovo system already does that.
Yep.
Which, no, it looks like a cool piece of tech, but Nintendo branded,
Yeah.
and like Nintendo doesn't really do anything for me. So
Yeah, and here's
I have no interest.
I'm kind of between Micah and Carrie, because I'm with Micah that, like, so like like the Steam Deck is my indie machine now. Like, I play most of my games on PC. If I have a choice between playing on PC or playing on Switch, I'm going to prefer to play it on PC, because I can play it on the Steam Deck. I can play it on my desktop. I can share it with my wife. Like all that stuff is super easy. So really, I'd be buying a Switch 2 for the Nintendo exclusive games that are going to come out on it. And to Micah's point, like, like if you're not into those, or even Carrie said, like, if you're not into those exclusives, you can probably wait. However, the exclusive games that they showed during this presentation are the ones that are
I
the most
really want to play
interesting,
this.
that are that are on here. So, like, I'm kind of torn. I'm not really sure yet what I'm going to do. We have a week to figure it out. Apparently, pre-orders don't start until April 9th.
Correct.
Which is a week from today. And as far as the price goes, to answer Cam's question, yeah, Nintendo's 100%. I mean, the reason that we haven't heard about a price point until now is because I think they were playing kind of a wait and see game, a little bit, to see what the Trump administration would do as far as tariffs. We got our answer to that today. As we're recording this, it's not looking great. I mean, and Nintendo, like, I was reading, they even moved, in anticipation of this, they even moved a lot of the manufacturing of the console from China to places like Vietnam and Indonesia, because they were anticipating heavier
Yeah.
tariffs to come in China, and then the administration just came in and just fucking threw tariffs on literally everybody.
On everyone.
So yeah, 449 absolutely has tariffs baked in. I also wouldn't be shocked like if this continues on from a tariff standpoint for Nintendo 6 months right before the holidays to be like, hey, like actually we need to bump this up to 500 even on this stuff, because Nintendo famously does not lose money on hardware. They're not willing to take a bath on hardware to make it up on software. So if you're kind of miffed that that you're paying $450 for your Switch 2, you got to blame it on
Blame Trump.
blame it on
Blame Trump.
right
It's
now.
all. It's on him.
I don't blame him anymore. I blame the people that didn't vote. I blame the general public for this. I do.
Terrence,
Like,
Terrence, there's enough blame to go around for everybody. I say, why withhold blame to anyone?
Well, because the reason why he's in office is because people voted the way they did. So I blame the American people because they're really dumb. That's it.
So getting to what Terrence alluded to with the games earlier, we did also get some game pricing, and some of it is shocking to say the least. The probably biggest shock of all, Mario Kart World. If you don't buy it bundled with the Switch in that $500 bundle, you'll be paying $79.99 for Mario Kart World.
What is it? Is it the late 80s, early 90s again? Jesus Christ.
I'm kind of like two minds on this, because one, I do think that there's a degree of sticker shock that I think is super fair. On the other hand, like, I also have to remind myself that, like, what we would qualify AAA titles had been $60 for decades before anyone started thinking about any kind of price increase. So, it's one of these things of like, yeah, $80 for a video game does seem like a lot of money, but there's also part of my brain that goes, it probably should have been $80 for a AAA title like 10 years ago, just based on like inflation and whatnot. I mean, I also I'm very much a fan of still like the value proposition of a video game. I would still rather pay $80 for a video game that I know I'm probably going to get, minimum 50 hours worth of entertainment out of, than pay $20 to see a movie that only lasts 2 hours. Like,
I don't do that no more.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. I'd be a little bit more able to swallow $80 if we hadn't just got to 70. Like, we just got to $70.
Yeah.
In this console generation, and we got there kicking and screaming, but I think a lot of us understood. Now, that being said, I mean, Mario Kart World is not going to be a game that's like littered with microtransactions and things like that. Yeah. So like that's something to consider. And there's a lot of games we pay $70 for that that then want us to shell out even more money.
That then are like, give us $10 for this DLC,
right.
Give us $20 for that DLC. So like the full game ends up costing in excess of $100 if you want all the content for it, right? So
and I think
is a really good point.
It seems like it's only Mario Kart that's $80. They have the price for Donkey Kong Bananza listed at $69.99.
Yeah, that's 70.
Which is more. I would expect to be in line with that. And I also don't think that this is going to be the price for every Switch 2 game. Like, I think you're going to see a lot of third-party games, especially games that are like smaller in scope, at that like $50 price point, kind of like we did with the original Switch when the Nintendo stuff was $60, and then a lot of third-party stuff came out at 40,
50, 50 or 40.
Underneath
it. I think you're still going to end up seeing a lot of that. I think you're going to see, your, I guess, top of the line first party games at, $80. And like, when it comes to Mario Kart World, I have to consider like the dev cycle on this game probably started after they finished Mario Kart 8 in the first place. Like, this is probably a game that's been in development for the better part of a decade now. It seems like an absolutely enormous game. I'm personally very excited for World. I think World looks great. I'm a big fan of Mario Kart in general, but yeah, I also have to wonder like how much are tariffs being, baked into the price tag of a first party Nintendo game too. So um I can't help but wonder, right? So
I will say that if any game company would jack the price up to $80, it would be Nintendo. But they do put out quality products. Like they usually come out with products that aren't broken when they release, right?
Yeah.
mhm.
So like they kind of just they've got the cachet to do it. Like if it was like fucking EA, like
That's fair.
get the
This is
fuck out of here because
Ubisoft,
the
like
game is gonna come out broken. It's gonna be a day one patch.
Well,
and those
that's
kinds of
the
nonsense.
thing, right? Like we're gonna see GTA 6 release for $100, and it's gonna require like oodles of updates and
It's
online.
gonna be a
will
20
broken at
gigabyte
launch,
fucking
yeah.
hope for like
Yeah.
day one patch to fix it. But my biggest issue with this being possibly $90 for the physical copy is you're still paying $90 to get hit with a blue shell when you're in first place, and you blew it
Yeah.
out with that shit. Like I'm not playing. Like no.
Or a tractor trailer,
That's insane.
depending on
Like,
what we
nah,
saw.
man.
in the,
I'm not
Yeah.
paying $90 to be frustrated because I'm too good at the game. Get the fuck out of here.
It's called Get
but-
Good, Terrence.
When you do get good, someone that's a fucking scrub in 8th place will hit you with a blue shell.
Whatever. Look, Mario Kart
Yeah.
power-ups and how they are distributed are exactly how like the U.S. economy should work, and it's not,
Yeah,
and that's why we're in this mess in the
Did
first
you-
place.
did you
The
also
blue
watch the
shell
video?
of socialism.
Yeah, did you also watch the video from Jeff Grubb?
No,
that he
I
put out
didn't.
this week. He literally talked about this, about how
Yeah.
Mario Kart is like the ideal economic
It
structure.
is. Yes.
Like he talked about like the lightning bolt is a progressive tax if you think about it, because it wears off on the people in last place faster than it does on the people in first place, and like if you're in last place you get better items than the people in first place do, and that kind of thing. So I thought that was pretty funny. A video well worth watching. Well, I'll tell you what, let's take a quick break, and then when we come back we'll talk about some of the games that they showed in this presentation as well. All right, so they didn't just show hardware. They did have a bunch of games to show off. I mean, we're talking about Mario Kart World, so let's talk more about Mario Kart World. Like Carrie said, this looks enormous, and it looks really interesting.
It's the Forza Horizon of Mario Kart.
Yeah, like they're basically making an open world Mario Kart game, essentially. Like they're literally saying like players will be able to drive like virtually everywhere in the game world. We're gonna have 24 racers in each race. Like it's so ridiculous that like you can race as like the most random of characters.
You
Like,
can race as the cow from Moo Moo Meadows is
Yeah.
so funny.
just to fill out the
It's-
roster.
It's so funny. Look, I'm all about it. Like, yeah, you've got your Luigi's and your Donkey Kongs, who's sporting his new look, by the way. I want to talk more about that once we get to DK Bonanza. But then they've also got like, Piantas from Super Mario Sunshine and Sidesteppers from Mario Bros.
Yeah, they have the fucking Sky Beetles from Mario 3
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you
yeah.
can that
Yeah.
you can race as, which have no hands or limbs, by the way. Like they
No,
just
doesn't
float
matter.
above the cart.
He can still race. They've got Fish Bones, Monty Moles, Baby Birdo apparently is a thing now. Like, look, who cares? Whatever. And then I'm sure they'll add a bunch of like other Nintendo characters to this game as DLC, like they did in 8, right? Like where you could race as Link or like the Animal Crossing villager or Isabelle or the Splatoon kids. Like, I'm sure this is just going to end up being a true free-for-all in terms of other Nintendo IPs showing up in this game eventually. But yeah, Nintendo's already shown more than 40. The other thing that I want to note is the fact that there are boats and there are planes that they showed in the trailer as well. So as a fan of Diddy Kong Racing, I'm excited for these particular vehicle types as well. I hope we get that taste of ye old DKR, except for Wizpig, who can fuck himself and die.
So they're gonna have
Wizpig is the hardest boss in any video game, and I refuse to hear otherwise.
so they're gonna have so they have the traditional Grand Prix in there, but it seems like, and I could be wrong about this, it seems like from the trailer that most of the races are going to become like rally style point to point races, which some people say don't like, but I will argue that in Mario Kart 8 the best courses are the point to point courses, kind of like the like the F-Zero tracks and stuff like that. So like that might actually be really cool. Speaking of F-Zero, they're also going to have a knockout mode in the game, which is basically like a battle royale mode of sorts, which is basically how F-Zero 99 works, which is really cool. Where as time goes along, they eliminate like the bottom X number of racers, and you have to kind of stay above that cut line until you're the last person standing. So that's pretty neat. Yeah, this is cool shit. I think Mario Kart series has been due for a big shakeup in this way, because I mean we've kind of had Mario Kart exist in the way that it's existed for 30 years.
Yeah, I mean,
modifications here and there.
I want to say like Mario Kart 8 and 8 Deluxe especially really like perfected the existing Mario Kart formula. It's like how could they have possibly gotten better than that game at what that game was doing? I genuinely don't think it would have been possible. So this decision to shake things up and go open world and that sort of thing feels very refreshing. But obviously, I think based on the footage, it still feels like Mario Kart. So I'm personally really looking forward to it.
What else?
Yeah, this is. I mean, it looks great. It looks super fun. I was trying to get my son into Mario Kart, and he seems to like it, but he doesn't know how to drive, which is really, really frustrating. But when I eventually do get this thing, this will be in heavy rotation. I would assume.
The game that I'm the most excited about was a surprise, because I think we were all waiting for the next 3D Super Mario game, and instead the kind of show closer was a new 3D Donkey Kong game called Donkey Kong Bananza, not Bonanza, B-O, but like
banana,
Bananza,
banana.
which good play on words there. I like it. I think that's fair. This looks incredible so far. So,
I am so stoked on this. Are you kidding me?
So it's a 3D Donkey Kong game that has like destructible environments where you can like dig underground or like knock things down in the overworld. It seems like that you can it seems almost limitless, like what you can destroy in the environment. The big joke that was online was they were calling this Red Faction Gorilla. For those of you that remember
That's good. That's good. I mean, look, I think it's what's crazy to me is when you think about it, Donkey Kong has literally only ever had one other 3D game like this, which was Donkey Kong 64, which is a game that I don't think has aged particularly well. That game is not fun to play.
How dare you besmirch the DK rap?
I'm not going to besmirch the music one bit. Kirkhope did a great job. I love the music in that game, but it's a collectathon beyond collectathons, even for the era. So, DK64 came out tail end of 1999. So it's been, a full 25 years now since we've had a Donkey Kong game remotely in this style. I love the country games. Returns and Tropical Freeze were both great, but this feels so refreshing for the character. It feels very much like Donkey Kong's Mario Odyssey, right? Can we also please talk about the character redesign? I'm a huge fan of what they did with him.
Micah, you seem skeptical.
No, it's just, he's a real grooving gorilla. You know what I mean, Terrence? He's a real grooving gorilla, and that's all I see now. It's all I see. that was specifically for Terrence. I'm sorry, white people. Sometimes we have to keep this stuff within our own community, because if it gets out, I don't want people to be like, well, I actually kind of like it. No, no, no. Um, Look, I like the idea of this game.
No, it looks good. I'm
It
not
does
gonna
look
say
good.
it doesn't look good, but like,
It
you know,
does.
I don't
It
really
does
want
look
to
good.
walk around playing a monkey. That's all I'm just saying. You know,
I mean, it looks like I wanna play it just to see what I can break,
Mhm.
right? Like
let's see how
you
destructible it really is. Like
yeah, just to
Crackdown
test it,
3.
just to test the test the fences and see what I can get away with. Um, but yeah, look, man.
Did they come up with their own destruction algorithm? You know how like people, oh, we got this new destruction 2.0, whatever the fuck. Did Nintendo come up with their own?
If they did, it would be
solid.
very Nintendo not to talk about that aspect of it. They don't want to. They don't want to get in the weeds with
Like, don't worry about it. We can just blow up everything. It's fine.
Yeah.
Enjoy the game. That looks cool, but again,
This is the one that I am the most excited for, as far as all the stuff that they showed off.
Yeah.
For sure. So, they also talked about enhancements that some Nintendo Switch games will get. So they're doing the whole path very similar to what Sony has been doing, especially, and coming out with enhanced versions of specific Switch One games. It is going to be a thing where if you already own the game, there will be a small upgrade pack that you can buy that will give you these enhanced features on Switch 2, or apparently that you have to buy the upgrade if you already own it on
I think
Switch
it depends on the game too. I think
That's
some of them
bullshit.
are free.
But also, if you subscribe to like the premium Switch Online program,
Right.
it'll be an added benefit that you just get this stuff as part of that as well, which I personally does add a lot of value. Like I've been super critical of the Switch Online Premium and how much value add there is.
The expansion pass. Yeah,
Yeah,
this is a
is
major value add for expansion pass.
Yeah.
For sure.
Some of the games that they've talked about that are going to have these upgrades. Obviously, both Zelda games are getting some pretty major upgrades, including a lot of mobile app compatibility that goes along with
Actually,
this.
every Zelda game, not just Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, but Link's Awakening and Echoes of Wisdom are also getting enhanced Switch 2 features. But yes, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom will now have like a companion app that has, I don't know, I guess some extra features or whatever. I'm curious about it. Other major games with Switch 2 enhancements include Mario Odyssey, New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which hopefully will make those games like
Playable?
actually consistently playable.
are they gonna run better? Like,
Yeah, I mean, God, I fucking hope so because I really
run
like.
adequately.
These enhancements, are they going to run better
Yeah,
on the system
yeah.
itself? That's the biggest enhancement that needs to happen.
Yeah,
I mean, for all of these games.
I here's the thing. I never had any issues with getting Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom to run. Scarlet and Violet had a rush development cycle, and those games were not optimized one bit. Other stuff, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Upcoming games that will have confirmed Switch 2 enhancements include Pokemon Legends ZA, as well as Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Unsurprising on both of those. Some of the lists of games that are getting Switch 2 enhancements include some oddball choices in my mind, like ARMS will be getting Switch 2 enhancements.
Right, like Captain Toad's Treasure
Tracker, Big Brain Academy, like okay,
Clubhouse Games with the one we were all waiting for to have Switch 2 features. I mean, Nintendo's gonna Nintendo, right? Like they can't
look.
Is what it is.
It doesn't hurt. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how these particular Switch one games run on the Switch 2. I mean, they did show like what Tears of the Kingdom I think looks like running on the Switch too, and that shit is smooth as heck. So
Well,
yeah,
and that's the thing. Like, I did not play Tears, because I figured that we were going to have a Switch 2 version that was going to come at some point. So yeah, I would definitely buy.
I played the shit out of Tears of the
Yeah.
Kingdom.
Well, I waited, and I'm glad that I did because like I
Well,
said, now we have this.
that game helped me mentally survive my divorce.
Well, there
So
you go.
I was not going to wait.
The perhaps the biggest surprise of the show came from Software, who revealed a game that looked a hell of a lot like Bloodborne 2.
It Bloodborne 2.
And,
They just can't call it Bloodborne 2 because
right.
I think Sony owns the Bloodborne name.
Well, it's called the Duskbloods. So it was really interesting seeing kind of the progression of emotion from a lot of people on the internet around this, because so like this game gets revealed, it looks like Bloodborne 2, and so people are like really excited, and then they reveal the title. It's called the Duskbloods, and they're like, holy shit, like incredible, like it looks like they're just fucking it's Bloodborne 2 in everything but name only. And it's a Nintendo Switch exclusive.
It's a Switch 2 exclusive. Is the funniest.
So like people are like, okay, I guess that's super weird. And then come to find out afterwards that is it that and we don't know how this works yet, but it is going to be a PvPvE game that From Software is developing. This alongside Elden Ring Night Rain, which is a cooperative PvE multiplayer game that's coming out, of course, on the other consoles later this summer. So I don't really know what to think about this Duskbloods game that's coming out. I guess we need to wait and see more.
Well, the From Software games have had like, what is it? I don't know if Elden Ring. I've never played Elden Ring, but didn't they have PvE? You could get a partner to come and help you.
Yes.
People also invade your games as well.
Yes, that was optional though. Except for like the
strictly...
NPC invaders.
Right. Because you could invade other people's games. In, Dark Souls.
There's actually certain content in that game that requires you to do that.
Right. But you've been able to do that since Dark Souls.
Correct, yes. but there hasn't been a true like when
so this is specifically PvPvE.
Yeah, so like it's confusing what they mean by that, because to your point, Terrence, like PvP in these games have always just been invasions. Like it hasn't been like a big focal point of the games. Whereas it seems like with this one, if they're calling it PvPvE, they're literally designing the game around that experience. What does that mean? I don't know.
Who knows? All I know is that all my pals who are big time Bloodborne fans are immediately on board with this. It is, it really does feel like From Software's way of just getting around Sony owning the rights to Bloodborne, because Bloodborne wasn't just a From Software game. It was developed in conjunction with Sony's Japan studio, which is no longer around. So there's basically some legal stickiness involving the Bloodborne franchise, and this just feels like From Software being like, whatever, we'll do it with Nintendo now. So if you're into,
they're still locking it to one platform, which is that's the thing that people are most annoyed about with Bloodborne, is that it's remained a Sony exclusive.
Not just a Sony exclusive, but like a PS4 exclusive.
Yes,
they haven't upgraded it. They haven't got anything to like make it any better. They just like, fuck that game. Like, well, come on, everyone loves that game, and y'all refuse. It
is literally, aside from Elden Ring, is probably the most popular FromSoft game that is released. It's like critical acclaim. So, so just kind of bizarre that we're getting this new Bloodborne inspired game that's only going to be on Switch 2 that is PvPvE. It's coming out next year. I'm sure we'll have a lot more to say about it as we learn more about the game. There is a new Hyrule Warriors coming out. This was actually,
I'm stoked on this.
Yeah, I think this was a deft like if you want a game to show off how impressively powerful your new console is, A Muso game's actually kind
a
of a
Muso
smart thing
game's
to do.
really good because that requires a lot of processing power to
Right.
render all those units. Yeah, I was a huge fan of Age of Calamity just because of the fact that like I really love the story of Breath of the Wild, and Age of Calamity really expanded on that in a very fun way by looking into like what happened during the calamity. And so this is the same deal where it's the Age of Imprisonment, or the going into the imprisonment war, um, which is discussed and like kind of shown a little bit over the course of Tears of the Kingdom with regards to Ganondorf and his machinations. So I huge fan of being able to basically do this again. I played the shit out of Age of Calamity. So Age of Imprisonment is certainly right up my alley. And getting to spend more time with characters from Tears of the Kingdom that I really liked, I'm all about. So
We got a quick tease for a new Kirby Air Rider, which is called Kirby Air Riders, or Kirby's Air Ride was the first one, and then
yes,
this is
now it's Kirby Air
Riders.
Riders. With Sakurai directing.
Mhm.
So that's exciting. They said that the original Kirby Air Ride was more than 20 years old, and I literally said out loud, "Shut the fuck up," because I did not think that that was true, but it is.
Wait, that was a GameCube game. That wasn't a SNES game.
Correct. Yeah. Kirby's Air Ride was a GameCube title.
Oh.
Yeah. 2003.
Yeah, that was when I was unaware of what that was like that 4-year stretch where I was completely unaware of what was going on in Nintendo World, essentially, until I bought an SP.
Yeah.
So that's okay. Well, I know a lot of folks are very happy about getting that again. We did see like a third party sizzle reel that kind of showed off, and not just a sizzle reel. They also had a lot of publishers showing off their games. So like Toby Fox, it showed that Deltarune is coming to to Switch 2, including with the new chapters. Obviously, like Supergiant was there to show off Hades 2. Hades, of course, having a lot of connection with the original Switch. As a big reason for its success. Silk Song was shown in the sizzle reel, which seems like really
Silk
fucked
Song
up,
was reduced
thing
to
to
a
do.
cameo in the sizzle reel is so funny to me. But they said allegedly a 2025 release for Silk Song, so
yeah, Tony Hawk 3 and 4 is coming to Switch 2 as you would expect. Civ 7 is coming to Switch 2. It does use the mouse Joy-Con controls, by the way, which I think is great for Civ. And Elden Ring is coming to Nintendo Switch 2, because I guess that's the barometer now to show that your console's worth salt. Can it run Elden Ring? And Cyberpunk is coming.
Cyberpunk, that's going to be a launch day title. A couple others, Yakuza 0 is getting a director's cut for Switch 2. That's going to be a launch title.
One of the better ones in the series.
Mm,
Yeah, I like that game.
Street Fighter 6 is also going to be getting custom amiibo for the Switch 2 release. Fucking Bravely Default is getting an HD remaster, and I've never been more irritated in my life to see people pretend to be excited for this shit ass fucking game.
FF7 Remake Integrate is coming.
Oh
to
yeah,
Switch
remake and Rebirth are both coming to Switch 2 as well. So yeah, all sorts of stuff. Fucking like Fortnite, because of course. Hitman, Nobunaga's Ambition, Puyo Puyo Tetris.
Hitman is cool that's coming to Switch 2. I don't know if you guys have fucked with World of Assassination. That's a really good fucking game.
I've heard it's very good.
It's real good. I like Mike and Terrence. I don't know if you guys have played it. I'm not a big Hitman guy, but they put a roguelike mode in Hitman, and it's actually quite incredible. Like it's
always been
like in Hitman.
It's always been a franchise that I wanted to get into, but for some reason I just never have. So
yeah, because you always end up just shooting your way out of fucking problems, right?
Right.
Terrence, the way the roguelike mode works is they put you in a random stage, and instead of like having like a designated like the assigned targets that you have in the story mode, like they pick like a random NPC on the map that's like you have like a couple targets that you have to get to among these NPCs, and the equipment that you get is randomized as well. So you have to kind of like make do with what you have, and try to complete specific objectives to get more money, and then you get to go back to your base and unlock different equipment and stuff like that. So it's a really neat fucking mode that they have in there. They also cock teased me and Micah for no reason at all, with the just showing, hey, we're still working on Project 007. We don't have anything to tell you about it though, but we're going to show you the gun barrel sequence. Like,
Yep.
that's rude as shit, but okay. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, sounds like what's going on with the movies right now.
There were also an additional handful of titles that were talked about on the Switch Direct last week that were then reshown as part of the sizzle reel for Switch 2. I will talk more about Rido in probably 15 minutes or so.
Yep. And the other big news that came from this, I think, is that something that people thought that they might not do, but it's happening with Switch 2, is now if you have Switch Online and you have a Switch 2, you'll be able to download and play GameCube games on the Switch 2. So the ones that they showed off right away, the first ones that'll come out are going to be Wind Waker, Soul Calibur 2 featuring Link, and F-Zero GX. All the games look like that they actually have slightly up-res graphics as well.
Yeah.
They look better than I would expect a GameCube game to look. So I guess this finally means we're never getting Wind Waker HD formally
No,
released.
that's not happening. That's not happening.
If this is happening, seems rude.
Yeah. I'm very excited for like the full list of games that was shown off, because that includes some extremely expected things like Mario Sunshine, Mario Strikers, Luigi's Mansion, as well as some GameCube games that have become prohibitively expensive to own, such as Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, Chibi Robo especially, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, as well as Pokemon Coliseum. These are all games that are well within, the $300+ range if you want to try and own even an incomplete copy to play on actual hardware. So, if you're not into emulation, even though that's essentially what this is, there's this is nice. I'm very much looking forward to this. They also showed off a Switch 2 compatible GameCube controller, which is wireless. So, yeah.
Oh, and you we completely didn't talk about. So they've had the mysterious C button that they've shown on the controller, and they finally showed what it does. So apparently the C button connects you to the Switch's built-in voice chat mode that they have, which
straight up just looks like Discord.
It looks like Discord, yes. Where you can pop up, like on the bottom of your screen, you can pop up where you see people's images. Nintendo's also selling a camera that you can use so that you can broadcast like yourself. Apparently, you don't have to use their camera. You can use any USB-C compatible webcam with this as well. Which I think is a nice touch that they have that compatibility built in. Also, they'll give you the option to have your face, like they showed this off with Mario Party. So like they'll have like a little bubble above your character's head in Mario Party that'll have your video feed of your face. So it's like they're trying to make it like you're together apart essentially with people as you're playing. Mm-hmm. The Switch system itself has a built-in microphone that apparently has noise cancellation, so background noise and game noise will be filtered out of it, which is a nice touch too, I guess. But I don't know, like I feel like they're trying to solve a problem that most of the people that would care about using this have already solved in many ways with Discord. So, I mean, it's cool that it's there. I don't know if that's a selling feature for this console, though.
I don't think it's a selling feature. I think it's a nice bonus.
Yeah, they're always 10 years behind. 5 years behind, but when it comes to other like extracurricular shit. But
here's my question. Nintendo. And I heard this pointed out elsewhere. Like we've been through this before, right? Like how many dicks were sent out over Xbox Live playing Uno through the Xbox through the Xbox webcam.
The Kinect.
20 years ago. God.
So I'm curious to see how Nintendo, famously the gatekeepers of online interactability through massive, convoluted 12-digit multi-character codes, is going to deal with dicks going out over the Switch.
I forgot about that. Yo, niggas got problems. Like, that's your first thought. I got a camera. Let me show my penis.
That's right. To
Why?
randos playing Uno. Yeah.
Doing or Uno, poker, whatever. Like, all right, man. Y'all are
Here's just like, no one wants to see your dick. No one wants to see it.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Any other thoughts on the Switch 2 before we move on?
No, not really. Look, if you're a Nintendo fan, and like I'm a fan of Nintendo, but I'm not like a Nintendo fan. You know what I mean? This is Christmas in June, so I'm very curious to see to get your opinion on it, Carrie.
Yeah, I'm
Just
gunning
to-
for a day one release for myself. So, but I also know, like as you said, like you don't travel a whole lot. Like for me, like already looking forward towards the back half of this year. Like I'm going to be experiencing several cross country flights for gigs and whatnot with my bands. So for me to be able to have an upgraded system to play this kind of stuff on, I think for me is certainly like more of a priority than it would be for someone who doesn't spend as much time in airports. So
Yeah.
I'm fucking sick of airports, guys.
Aren't we all? Some of us more than others. Like I'm feeling that pain now too, because I'm traveling a lot more for my job. So, well, cool. Well, that is our thoughts on the Switch 2. We're gonna take another break. When we come back, we're gonna talk about that other Nintendo Direct that they did last week. So the Switch 2 is not the only Nintendo news we have, because they decided to have a Nintendo Direct for the dying embers of the Switch 1 last week.
That's
as
so
well.
dramatic.
And look, there was a lot of shit that I was pleasantly happy to see in this other Nintendo Direct. Some of the stuff they showed we've known about. Dragon Quest 1+2, we've known that's coming. Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D is coming out soon as well. They also chose this moment.
Well, DQ3 HD 2D came out at the end of last year.
Oh,
so,
okay. So
this
1
is
and 2 is
yeah.
still to come. Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, they also chose this presentation to show off Metroid Prime 4 for the first time.
As far as gameplay, yes.
As far as gameplay goes, which looks very good, and even the Switch version, if that is what they showed during this presentation,
I strongly
looked pretty
doubt
good.
that it was the Switch version.
Oh,
I
no?
absolutely think that what was shown off in the trailer was the Switch 2 version. If it is the Switch version, great. I don't know how much I believe that it is. But yeah, I mean, Samus has psychic powers now. Why not? Comes out this year, so yay.
but not a launch game, because I feel like they would
Not
have
a
said
launch
so
game.
if that
No,
was it.
it's not on the launch list for the Switch 2. I fully expect this to be a holiday release. I think this and Pokemon Legends ZA are probably going to be your two big holiday games for Nintendo this year.
What is Right Now, Carrie?
Rhino Remastered. Okay, so how much time do we have?
Not
look,
as much time as you probably would like to.
So,
dedicate
all
to
right. So
this.
here's the thing: is the PlayStation 2 era of Shin Megami Tensei is as good as it gets. That's when you got Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne, which got a remaster recently. It's when you got Persona 3 and Persona 4 were PS2 SMT games. But outside of like the big Persona titles and the big mainline Shin Megami Tensei game, you also had some of the biggest and best other SMT spin-offs, including Devil Summoner, which is where Raito comes from. So the full title of the PS2 games are um, Shin Megami Tensei Devil Summoner Raito Kuzunoha versus the
Oh
Soulless
my
Army.
god.
Yeah, long title. So
You
they
see why they
actually
cut it
straight
down.
up said, yeah, look, yeah. And then there was Shin Megami Tensei Devil Summoner Raito Kuzunoha versus King Abaddon. Or Abaddon, whatever. And then you also had the 2 Digital Devil Saga games, which are fucking incredible, and which I personally have been like really keeping my fingers crossed for this kind of treatment. But they just calling it Raito Remastered: The Mystery of the Soulless Army, because given that the original title of the game was such a mouthful, pretty much everybody who played the game just called these games Raito anyway.
So
So
Raito Remastered: The Mystery of the Soulless Army is the
is the
short
shorter.
name.
It's the short name. Yes, right. Yeah, 100%. So this is the condensed version. Look, so this is unlike Shin Megami Tensei, unlike Digital Devil Saga, unlike Persona, the Raito games are action RPG. They're not turn based. So the big thing about the 2 Raito games is that Raito versus King Abaddon had a lot of quality of life upgrades that kind of almost made it difficult to want to go back and play Raito versus the Soulless Army. But this remastered version has a ton of quality of life upgrades. It basically makes a Raito 1 remaster play like Raito 2 did, which is what a lot of people wanted from a remaster of this. So huge fan of this. Looks great. We all know that I'm a big old fucking slut for Shin Megami Tensei in general, so I'm gonna play the hell out of this. This comes out on June 19th, so just a couple of weeks after the launch of the Switch 2. It will be getting a Switch 2 version as well. It's also going to be on PlayStation 4 PC or PS4, PS5, PC, and Xbox. So yeah, if you're into the vibes of Shin Megami Tensei, but maybe want something with a more active combat, consider playing Raito. The both of the games are, PS2 era favorites of mine. I've been sitting on a complete in-box copy of Soulless Army for like 15 years at this point. But I'm really glad that more people are getting the opportunity to play what I consider to be kind of like the golden era of the Shin Megami Tensei franchise, which was all of these PS2 games that a lot of people didn't play because the SMT franchise didn't really take off in terms of mainstream popularity until Persona 5 and then Shin Megami Tensei 5. So, yeah, please play Raito. It rips. There's a whole additional like 25-minute presentation from Atlas going over all of the quality of life upgrades, why they chose to remaster Raito, all of this other stuff. So I think that's really worth checking out as well. And they're kind of alluding to the fact that they might, depending on the success of the Soulless Army remaster, they may start doing new Raito games as well, just because Raito as a character is very popular. So keeping my fingers crossed for that. And also please, like, Atlas, can we please get a Digital Devil Saga remaster, please? I don't want to have to set up my PS2 to play that game again. But yeah.
Well, now that
Shin Megami Tensei good.
well, now that Carrie talked about her most exciting game, I'll get to talk about the 2 games that I was the most excited about during this that I did not expect to see at all. The first one is that Patapon 1 and 2 HD, or not HD, but Patapon 1 and 2 remastered are coming to everything besides PlayStation. They passed the publishing off to Bandai Namco for this. Patapon was one that I feel like I missed out on in the PSP era. For some reason, I just didn't get into it, but I don't know why I didn't get into it, because it seems like it's something that I would really like. So I'm excited to check this out. Not on Switch, but I'll do it on Steam. And the other thing came out of left field. Super excited about it. We're getting a new Everybody's Golf. Everybody get fucking stoked for that shit. I can't wait. Everybody's Golf, Hot Shots, truly another like Resident Evil Biohazard naming convention, which I think a lot of places should do more when you have different names in Japan and in the US. Very excited for the next iteration because I love Everybody's Golf. I've loved the Hot Shot series for a really long time, and I can't wait to play the next.
I had to Google to see if this is the one that. Yeah, I actually really like Everybody's Golf a lot.
Yeah, it's
on
good.
the PlayStation.
It's good. It's
4,
good.
Very fun.
I got my wife to play Everybody's Golf.
Yeah,
She just one of the few games she'll play with me.
yep.
Because it's everybody's golf.
That's right. And this is coming out everywhere. We're also getting a new Rhythm Heaven, which looks cool.
For the first time in a long time, we're getting
Yeah.
a new Rhythm Heaven.
Yep. And a new Tomodachi Life is coming to the Switch, which a very small subset of people are very excited about.
Very small but very loud subset of people are
Yes.
very excited for Tomodachi Life.
Yes. They also showed off some more gameplay for Shadow Labyrinth, which is that Pac-Man dark Metroidvania game that we just saw for the first
So
time
strange.
at Gamescom.
Yeah.
New Story of Seasons.
I'm very excited for Witchbrook. So that's like a spellcrafting and witchy little life sim from Chucklefish. So I've been following the development of that for the last few years. Sizzle Reel had some interesting stuff in it. Saga Frontier 2 getting a remaster was not on my bingo card at all, but the Saga games are incredible. So I hope folks get into that. I want to know what you guys think of Marvel Cosmic Invasion, because this is a new Marvel arcade style beat 'em
Right
up
up my fucking alley.
made by the
I'm
Hey, I'm
basic,
like
guys.
it's made by the Shredder's Revenge team,
Yeah,
and also
Donnie
has
Yu.
the same folks doing the music. So T-Lopes is doing that, which is great. So
Shredder's Revenge was great, man.
Yeah.
It was a great little throwback. Very cool art style. Very good music. Yeah. And then now you just do the same thing with a bunch of Marvel characters. Yeah. Okay. Of course, I'm gonna fucking get it. Of course.
That's like the game that I'm most excited for.
That-
Like, seriously, I don't like. I'm simple,
Terrence,
man. I've been playing games
I'll
for
tell you-
45 years. Like, I don't
Lately,
know.
I've been one of the games I've been playing to mix some things up here and there. I dipped back because I didn't play it a lot when I bought it on the Switch, but I bought it on a PC. I think Streets of Rage 4 might be the best one of like these type of games that's probably ever released.
Yes,
It's really fucking good.
Like,
It's really fucking good. Oh my god, Streets of Rage 4 rips so hard.
You can
big fan of the music in that game
You
too.
can juggle people, yeah. Like Streets of Rage series and music is synonymous with each other. But yeah, and they didn't disappoint with 4. Again, 4 is awesome.
Yeah,
Like I was pleasantly surprised when that game.
it's crazy that we're in like a brawler renaissance.
It's so cool,
and
though.
So
Like,
few,
I'm-
and so few of us care, but yet those of us that care. Are really happy.
Look, I still need to play Shredder's Revenge. I feel bad because I have several friends
It
who
was-
worked on the music
it
for
was
that game.
fun.
Shredder's Revenge is good.
And I said I straight up haven't played it. But no, I mean at MagFest, I got to see T-Lopes and some of the homies do like some of the Shredder's Revenge music live, and I was like, I should really play this game. But yeah, I'm excited for. I think I'm more excited for Cosmic Invasion just because like I care more about like the Marvel characters than I do about Ninja Turtles. I've never been huge into Ninja Turtles myself. But yeah, I thought that was a really pleasant surprise, sort of snuck into this larger presentation.
Yep. So yeah, Switch 1, not dead yet. But again, I mean, most people are probably gonna play a lot of these on Switch 2 as well. So we shall see. Let's take it on to the post office. Don't forget, you can join our Discord by going to denspixel.com/fans. Ask us questions. We'll answer them on the show. Just like Beach Boy did, we have quite a few to get through here just because we're a couple weeks old. So I might bounce around, and we might have to carry some of these in the next episode. If you could get a full remaster, with new gen mechanics, what fighting game would you love to see come back? They say they'd like to see Power Stone on the Dreamcast, like to see updated graphics on those characters, and the Bloody Roar series as well.
What are new gen mechanics?
Think like Street Fighter's kind of like modern controls that they put in Street Fighter 6.
I've played Street Fighter 6.
Oh, basically they put in like simple
Easy
input controls. Yeah, in Street Fighter 6, but they made them work so that they're not like you can't span. They're not spanning. Like you actually have to still play with some level of precision.
Oh,
Yeah,
So.
they made it so that you, if you don't know how to do motions, you can still, you know,
like
play.
forward and whatever.
Yeah, it's just
we'll do it
forward,
anyway.
like
Okay.
different button combinations.
Hmm.
It's actually pretty good for characters that like you don't normally play with. What fighting game? I don't know.
If it wasn't already a thing, I would say Mark of the Wolves, but that's coming out with a sequel.
Right.
Oh yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
coming out next month.
Right. So
No, not
I
next
love
month.
that
This
game.
month.
Yes.
Like, I love Mark of the Wolves, but that game is not easy. Very
Mm-hmm.
fucking difficult. But the sequel is coming out this month. So yeah, there you go.
Um, I'll
Eternal
say
Champions.
rival schools. There hasn't been a new rival schools in a long ass fucking time, right?
No,
They
I'm good with that.
No.
Street Fighter 6 does
The character showing up in Street Fighter doesn't count. Doesn't count.
no, I'm saying they do battle passes for your avatar, and this next battle pass is a rival schools battle pass.
That's fun.
So and sometimes what Capcom does is they do stuff like this to test the waters,
Right.
just to kind of see like
Remember rival schools?
Well, also
remember
Project
this?
Justice is gonna be part of that new Capcom fighting game collection that's coming out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I played Project Justice on Fightcade on PC.
Mm-hmm.
I got my ass kicked.
you play
I
on
don't know,
Fight Game, yo.
I
Like,
don't know if
that's
you've
just-
ever played on Fightcade, nigga.
yeah, that's all they do.
I was like, Jesus Christ, yo, give me a break, yo. Golly. But Fightcade is awesome. Fightcade
Yeah.
is really good. Like,
See,
you
that's
download
the
all
funny
those
thing with
games.
fighting franchise, that most of the ones that people want to see come back have kind of come back in some way, shape, or form over the last
Yeah,
decade
nobody's
plus.
nobody's clamoring for Clay Fighter. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Was it Clay Fighter 63 and a half or whatever?
Yeah, nobody's really the ones that people really want to come back kind of have come back. And you know, to varying degrees, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Like Killer Instinct 10, 15 years ago came back,
Yeah.
and that game is really good. They're doing it. But he said like Power Stone, just do a remake. I mean, what mechanics would you add to Power Stone? It's just like a run around. It's just run around throwing shit at each other.
that's gonna be
Yeah,
Power
Power
Stone is
Stone's
gonna
such a
be in
weird
that
little game.
collection. It's gonna be in
Yeah.
that collection that's coming out.
yep. So maybe that's another test of the waters too, to see if there's appetite for another Power Stone.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, that's probably it though. Like that'd be the one that I want to see. It's actually kind of shocking we haven't seen a revisit of Power Stone, especially in this new age where online play is much more prevalent. Like you would think that a 4-player arena
You
fighter.
figured like Sega coming out with all those new games, they had like what game was we coming out with? It was
They're doing like a new
Crazy
Jet Set
Taxi,
Radio. They're
Jet
doing
Set
Crazy
Radio.
Taxi.
Why was Power Stone not in there? You know, that's a little weird.
Eh.
People love Power Stone, but
Cam asks, how much money would you people take, or how much money would it take for you people to take a suplex onto a bat filled with nails, like dumbass John Moxley did a couple of weeks ago?
just why? Just why?
Yeah, sorry,
Why?
sorry, Brad. That's white boy shit, yo. Like I can't,
I can't explain. I can't explain that shit.
He got a fucking like hypodermic needle stuck into his fucking mouth.
Well, look, that's
You know.
junkie shit, and I'm not a junkie, so.
A couple months back. I don't know what they got going on with at AEW. They don't need to do all that.
Yo,
talent
you
is
really
better than
don't,
that.
yo. That's the
At least I
thing.
thought.
Like they're all better than these weird stunts, yo. Like, and I'm old, man. I've never been into like CZW and all that shit.
like,
you know what I mean?
know.
Like the light tube to stab a
I was
motherfucker.
thinking about that the other night, and like, I understand why ECW existed when it did, because
That
they
was
were
30 years ago.
right. But they were also the distant third behind two much more so they had to do crazy shit to get noticed. And I also understand why like independent wrestling companies today do that shit because again, like they're fighting in this obscure space and they have to do whatever they can to get noticed. If you're AEW, you're John Moxley, and you are firmly the number 2 to WWE, you don't have to do that shit to get noticed. Like people will tune in to watch good wrestling. They don't need to see like the most insane deathmatch shit in the entire world. So
like that was insanity. Like I hope they like put those needles in boiling water before they put them in that bat. Like, come on, man. I hope they were sanitized. That's all I'm saying. Like, yeah, if you're gonna do something ridiculous like that, I may be me being old, but like, tetanus is a thing, guys. And that thing got embedded into his back.
Yeah, like you
really
saw the skin
deep
pull,
in there,
yo.
man.
You saw the skin pull while they were pulling it out. Like, Jesus Christ.
Like if he would have hit like his spine or something,
yeah, he could have
been fucking paralyzed. That was stupid. That was really dumb. But you know.
Also, I'm gonna need Edge to take a pin, yo. Like I know you're a legend and all that, but like,
and he won the match. Get the fuck out of here.
Yo, take a pin, yo. Take a pin. Put somebody over. One person. Put one person over.
Has he been pinned since
best
he's been
friend.
in AEW?
Huh?
Has he been pinned clean since he's been in it? No, not at all.
Once by Christian.
Okay.
That was it.
But again, was that a clean loss?
I don't even remember if it was. I don't
bullshit?
even know if it was. I don't even remember if it was like a clean win. So yeah, put somebody over, man. Come on, bro.
Okay.
Like, don't be that guy. Don't be that wrestler, yo.
T-Wash asked, what is something that you guys enjoyed that got ruined because it became successful? For him, GTA, after the success of GTA Online, because it made them scrap basically all the single-player content.
Wrestling. I'm just like honestly, this current WWE product in ring is pretty terrible, and it's about as popular as it's been since like the late '90s.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest with you. This build to WrestleMania is not doing it for me, yo.
Yeah.
I'm having fun.
Like it's just I don't know. So I'm kind of half joking but half serious about wrestling. It's yuck. I don't like.
I'm going to Monday Night Raw in a week and a half, so
It's look, going to one of those things live is quite the experience.
yeah.
I haven't done it a lot, but I have, and you're going to a TV taping, so that's where like it's really fun. Like house shows are cool, but like they don't count.
Yeah.
But TV tapings are really fun.
Yeah. No, I'm good. That's the last Raw before WrestleMania too, so I'm sure there'll be some nonsense.
Show, so.
Some
that
nonsense.
should be very good, honestly. That should be good.
Yeah. I'm trying to think
we totally forgot the question. What was the question?
What's something you enjoyed that got ruined?
But it got ruined because of how successful it became.
The internet.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah, Twitter.
Yeah.
Twitter used to be a thing that I enjoyed until it became too successful.
Social media.
Yeah. It's actually probably the best answer. Like I've struggled to think of a better answer. I'll tell you here's a weird one to keep it in the realm of video games. I liked Metal Gear Solid less as the games became more like wider ranging mainstream appeal. Like I really like 4 was fine. 5
after 4.
Yeah, Ground Zeroes and 5 really didn't do it for me at all. I played a little bit of Ground Zeroes and I hated it. And I never really gave much play for 5. So
yeah,
even though it's the most successful one.
3 was a pinnacle. 4 was just all right.
4 was the victory lap. 4 was like the fan service, like, all right, let's wrap it up kind of shit. And I enjoyed 4 enough. And then 5 I didn't really give much time to because I was like, I don't really want an open world Metal Gear. That's not what I'm looking for.
That was one of those games that I bought that I got through out of like the hospital or whatever into the open
like the
world.
first 5 minutes.
And I was just like, yep. And I was just like, nah, I'm not feeling this.
I don't want to do that anymore.
You got fucking, you got Jack Bauer in my, nah. I'm not feeling this. Open world, just nah. And I love open world games, but like, not
open
that.
world games. 2 games that I'm playing right now. Playing Far Cry 5 and Assassin's Creed Origins. Assassin's Creed Origins has my favorite. He is my favorite protagonist. Bayek is great.
Yeah.
Better than Ezio that everyone loves. And Far Cry 5 is actually surprisingly good. I like it a lot. I didn't think the setting. I didn't think I'd like the setting that much, but the setting actually is really good.
Is that like in America?
Montana.
That's the cult leader, the religious cult leader.
That game is pretty fucking. I'm almost finished. I'm almost done. I got like one more region.
Man, I'll tell you, like I started Far Cry 5 because I thought I would like the story of the game, and as soon as you get past the beginning section and just get dumped into regular ass Ubisoft map vomit, like bullshit, I was like, no, I can't. I only have one of these in me every couple of years, and it's usually Assassin's Creed.
And I'm playing two of them.
Right.
I tried Valhalla, and I'm like, no.
Yo,
like,
is it the setting? Is it the setting, or is it just like everything else with it?
I got 2 hours into it, and like it looks really good. All right, it looks good. It's Assassin's Creed, but there was just something about. I'm not a big Vikings guy.
Yeah, like it's just.
I played that first, and I was like, I'm good. And then I downloaded Origins, and I was like, I really enjoy this.
Here's the thing about Valhalla. I'm also not a big Vikings person, but also Valhalla had Orlog, and that ruined me. So
I don't even know what that is.
Orlog is like the dice game within the game in Assassin's Creed that you can play.
I played one round of that, and I don't know what the fuck is.
I got really into some fucking Orlog in Assassin's Creed. To the surprise of nobody, I'm sure. So
of course. But yeah, Assassin's Creed Origins, like the first thing I wanted to do was go to see if like you could go into the pyramids, and sure enough, you could. All of them.
Yeah,
it's awesome. That game is really good.
A lot of Assassin's Creed is setting for me because like
the Egyptian setting is fucking amazing to me. So
yeah,
I've got like 35 hours into it.
They're all the same game, right?
Yeah, they are.
But so the setting does a lot of heavy lifting, and it helps if you have an interesting protagonist or a pair of protagonists.
Let's call that a teaser for next week, as far as Mike's thoughts on Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Yeah.
Butcher Pete asks, "Is GTA coming out this year? Please wildly speculate. Is GTA going to come out this year? That's a great question.
I think.
I thought they said next year.
No, they haven't said
2025.
They said this year.
They said this year. I'm going to call it as a holiday title.
No,
I'm going to say winter.
Yeah. I think that's fair. That could be next March for all you fucking know.
It's fascinating to hear the stories of publishers like panicking about what GTA is going to do because they want to stay away from it as if it was like a fucking nuclear blast zone, essentially, as far as the release date for GTA. And so like they're all trying to figure out like when the fuck it's happening because they don't want to be anywhere near it because they're worried that it's just going to suck up all the oxygen in the room for a literal month after it comes out, which it probably will. Let's see here. Cam
is going to make $1 billion in a month.
In a month? Try a week.
In a week.
Yeah, let's say try, or maybe
it's going to be $95. It's going to be $100, and people are going to just buy it.
Yep.
And not even like the limited edition copy. It's just going to be
$100. And watch. It won't even have like online at first. Like they'll be like, "Nah, you just play through the story at first."
Online
People will
comes
be like,
out
okay.
next July.
Right.
Whatever. Cool.
How about we make this one the last question? And I guess this is towards Micah and Terrence specifically. So Cam also asks, Cristiano Ronaldo, yes, that one was announced as a playable character for Fatal Fury: City of Wolves. On one hand, gross. On the other hand, we can beat up a rapist in that game. So there's that. How do you all feel about adding a footballer to a fighting game? So yeah, Cristiano Ronaldo was accused of sexual assault in Vegas many years ago.
In 2017.
2017. Yeah. I don't think can go back to Vegas right now because I'm pretty sure they're going to arrest him if he ever does. It's
kind of it's not great. He's had multiple rape allegations, both in the UK and in the United States. Now the suit in because there was a civil lawsuit from the woman who accused him in 2017 that was eventually dismissed in 2022. So it's just he hasn't been convicted of anything, but like there's been several accusations basically that do seem credible, and it seems like he's been getting off on technicalities more than anything else.
But he's also one of the best soccer players of all time.
So I just Googled this guy because I honestly I've heard the name, but like I understand he's probably one of the most famous people in the world.
He
I
is.
would not be able to pick him out of a lineup. And I look at him and I look at this first image of his headshot, and he just looks like a Portuguese Justin Tucker to me.
Well, that's just it.
It's accurate. It's an accurate statement.
All right. Look, I saw the trailer. The in-game model doesn't look like him, in my opinion, and it's not his voice. So, it could just be a random dude with a soccer ball. He looks like he plays like Venom from Guilty Gear.
Mm-hmm.
Venom is the
He's
the character.
Pull stick.
Yeah, the billiard player who could summon billiard balls and use them as projectiles. He looks like he's doing that with a soccer ball. It's really odd, man. This is like Negan Tekken shit, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is wild. Like, I don't mind guest characters, but real world guest characters or guest characters based off of like.
Well, what's his nationality?
He's Portuguese.
He's Portuguese.
Portuguese. Okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Like Fatal Fury is huge.
Yeah, in South America,
like Mexico, South America. It's massive there. They love Fatal Fury, so it makes sense that he would be in it. I didn't know anything about his sexual assault charges.
Yeah, me neither.
But like, I completely understand why he's a character in the game. I'm looking at the trailer now.
It's pandering to a very specific but very large part of the consumer base for this franchise in particular. So I get it. It is kind of weird to just have like a football dude in the game.
Yeah, he's
so
just him.
fucking random.
It's just really random. It's really random, and it's like now he's in Fatal Fury lore, right? Along with Ken, you have Cristiano Ronaldo versus Ken Masters in a Fatal Fury game in 2025.
What a time
We are
to be
living
alive.
the dream, I guess.
Obviously, the exception to what Mike has said about having weird guest characters coming in, probably the Mortal Kombat franchise. I think they've done pretty good with their guest character pools, especially with these latest couple games that have come out, putting in like action movie characters and horror movie characters and stuff like that, because that universe is ridiculous. But yeah, I do agree. It's kind of weird to have real life people guest starring in your fighting video game. It is a bit strange. So
yeah, kind of odd.
But yeah,
All right.
I didn't know that fact about Fatal Fury's prominence in Spanish-speaking countries, basically. So like that's interesting that's the case. So and yeah, Terrence is right. That makes a ton of sense then as to why they would do it. I think we're going to call that a show. That was a hell of an episode. So thank you guys. Don't forget, again, join the Discord, densepixels.com/fans. Subscribe on YouTube by going to youtube.com/densepixels. You can also hit that subscribe button on your podcast app of choice if you want to find us as well as all the other TNP shows. Just search for TNP Studios on your podcast app to find us, the Nerdpocalypse, Black of Black Cinema, and Look Forward. And if you want to really support us with zeal, join the premium TNP network by going to densepixels.com/premium and give us $5 a month by saying you appreciate what we do. And you also, of course, get the full episode of Look Forward every week when you do that as well. That's going to be it for us. Thank you all very much for watching and listening, and we'll see you the next time.
Listen to this week's Black on Black Cinema episode.
Oh yeah, if for those of you on YouTube, the thumbnail speaks 1,000 words on that one. I will say.
It really does. Good. Oh my God.
See ya.
See ya.
You're watching the Dense Pixels YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button while you're here and make sure you check out our weekly podcast where we discuss the latest gaming news and our impressions on what games we've been playing.